Are you ready for something sweet and spicy? Because that's exactly what we're cooking up with both our Cardamom Peach Cobbler and the film we're going to be covering today on Tastemaker. I'm your host, Harrison Richland. This is the show where we make meals out of movies, and on today's episode, we are covering the soulful, the sultry, the sumptuous Mississippi Masala. Directed by Mira Nair, whose work includes Salam Bombay, Monsoon Wedding, and The Namesake, Mississippi Masala is an intimate exploration of cross-cultural romance and the complex interconnectedness of identity and location. It stars Denzel Washington and Sarita Chaudhry in her debut role, as well as the famous British Indian actor Roshan Seth, who you may recognize from the 1982 biopic Gandhi. Well, the film's central narrative drive is the love that grows between Washington's Demetrius and Chaudhry's Meena. Mississippi Masala also uses the trials experienced by Meena's father as a way of anchoring the story in themes of racism and xenophobia. This is first pointed to in a brief prologue that sees Seth's character forced to flee his home country of Uganda following dictator Idi Amin's expulsion of all South Asians in 1972.
Okello, this is my home. Africa is for Africans. Black Africans.
Ultimately, he ends up moving his wife and daughter to Greenwood, Mississippi, where they work at a chain of motels and liquor stores owned by extended family, all the while dreaming of returning to his home and holding complicated feelings towards the largely African-American population that surrounds him.
Not now. We'll talk later.
Academy Award winner Ben Kingsley was actually supposed to play Meena's father, which is what got Nair the financing for the film in the first place. But when he had to drop out, Denzel Washington stepped up. He actually agreed to lend his star power to the film, which is what kept production alive, as if we needed another excuse to love Denzel. He told Nair that the element that really attracted him to the part was the idea of showcasing a romance between two cultures, which is why this dish aims to honor Meena's South Asian and Ugandan heritage, as well as the Mississippi roots that tie her and Demetrius together. Our Cardamom Peach Cobbler is going to pack a little bit of heat to it with a nice amount of cinnamon, cloves, and ginger. And to really amplify that Indian flavor, we're also going to be using the traditional sweetener jaggery for our biscuit topping. This is going to be paired with some slices of kulfi, which is like a denser, creamier version of ice cream. There's no churn required with this, but it does need 8 hours to set, preferably overnight, so let's prep that first. We're going to start by gently simmering some milk until it reduces by about 1/3. Do not rush this process, and make sure you're scraping down the sides of the pan regularly to reincorporate the solids. Next, add your condensed milk, jaggery, heavy cream, and keep simmering until thick and creamy. Finally, throw in some cardamom, a little more milk that's had some saffron steeping in it, and some pistachios if you want a little extra crunch. Simmer for 5 more minutes, then drop in a touch of rose water, let it cool, and pour it into whatever mold you have, or just some plastic cups. Cover it up, and while these are freezing, let's talk a little more about the romance that heats up in Mississippi Masala. Unlike her father, Meena has assimilated into American culture rather well, and while she can't stop the feelings that form for carpet cleaner Demetrius, her initial reaction is to fear for how her family and community would disapprove. As it turns out, though, what ends up connecting Meena and Demetrius further is this shared sense of cultural dislocation.
Mother used to say that you could never step in the same river twice.
Was that supposed to mean?
Right.
Neither understand or wish to tolerate the self-imposed separations between people of the same physical community, nor the ties to customs or a country thousands of miles away. In an even deeper irony, Meena is constantly having to explain to Demetrius' friends and family that coming from Uganda, her roots are African, and she's never even been to India, as many of them assume.
I've never been to India.
Never been to India?
No.
You kidding?
No, I'm not.
This need to degrade and other almost serves as a defense mechanism for these communities, as each has been exposed to an even deeper level of discrimination and feel the need to protect themselves by doing the same. Nair suggests that this is not a uniquely American problem, but one that does connect America to all of the nationalities. It's typically welcomed when no one else will. And while apple pie may be considered more American than other pastries, This cardamom peach cobbler felt a bit more evocative of the southern locale in which the story takes place. You can use fresh peaches if they're in season, but canned or frozen work just as well. Just drain some of the liquid. Once you have your slices, mix them with our jaggery and spices, as well as cornstarch, salt, lemon juice, and if you have it, a touch of rose water. Feel free to add a little brown sugar if you like it sweet, not an innuendo, I swear. Let it sit for at least 10 minutes and give it another stir before pouring into a greased baking dish. Before we prep our jaggery biscuits, I want to break down how the visual scheme of the film helps accentuate its themes in the same way our topping will pull out the sweetness of our peaches. Mississippi Masala was shot by legendary cinematographer Ed Lockman and makes use of a lot of greens and browns, almost as a way of highlighting the lushness of life being in constant contrast with the decay of history. Nair adds to this aesthetic by creating an alluring push and pull with her blocking and framing, not just when it comes to Demetrius and Mina falling for one another, but even in how she captures the fractured yet loving dynamic between Mina's parents. At the same time, Nair always manages to tie whatever romance that arises to a much broader, more complex narrative, not only about the immigrant experience, but the idea of finding home anywhere outside of where we're physically born, and how for many, it's become a forced necessity. Being able to see that mutual struggle and respect the specifics of each person's pain, but also their sense of love, is what makes Mississippi Masala such an impactful film.
Well, for one thing, the van belongs to the bank in 2 weeks. If we cross state lines, we'll have the federal marshals.
That's 2 weeks away.
Hopefully this dessert will be just as impactful, especially with how unique our jaggery biscuit topping is. In addition to all-purpose flour, we're going to use the Indian wheat flour atta, plus some salt, baking powder, baking soda, jaggery, and more cardamom. Cut some cold butter or ghee into this mix, then add some buttermilk and combine until it just comes together. Take a spoon or a small scooper and drop a few dollops over the filling, then sprinkle some more jaggery on top with a few handfuls of crushed pistachios as well for an added crunch. Bake in a 375-degree oven for about 35 to 40 minutes and let it cool for at least 10 minutes. You can also take your kulfi out now so it has time to loosen from the mold. On the subject of loosening molds, ultimately Mina and Demetrius realize that the only home they need is with each other, and if finding their happiness means leaving Mississippi, then that's what they're willing to do. Meanwhile, Mina's father is finally given the chance to return to Uganda in a bid to reclaim his property and potentially move back for good. But when he sees the ruins of the house that was taken from him and the way the country is moving past the pain put upon them by the Amin regime, Mina's father feels compelled to return to Mississippi, as whatever home he has left is with Mina and her mother.
Home is where the heart is. And my heart is with you.
What Nair says with Mississippi Masala is that moving past our differences and coming to terms with our trauma requires love and forgiveness, not prejudice. This is a message that seems incredibly potent for these times, yet one I see echoed by very few. But there is one politician who I think has been able to really excite people by running on this mindset, and he just happens to be Mira Nair's son, Zohran Mamdani. What's even more incredible is that Mississippi Masala essentially led to his existence, as Nair was introduced to Zohran's father during her research on the history of the conflict in Uganda. Zohran was actually born a month after the film's debut in the Ugandan house featured in the film. Now, I'm not currently a New Yorker, but I was born in Manhattan, so the city will always have a very special place in my heart. And I really do believe Zohran can not only lead it in a really beautiful direction, but inspire others to step up and do their part as well. I also don't think it is a coincidence Zohran skyrocketed to popularity based on his video appeals, and that just like his mother, he understands how to expand what his audience thinks is possible. Hopefully you see that's what we're trying to do with Tastemaker as well. Sure, we want you to be entertained when we talk about Mississippi Masala and put together this cardamom peach cobbler and kulfi, but ideally, you also walk away wanting to expand your horizons, whether that's with a movie, a meal, or even a new mindset. That's what life's all about after all, and who knows, maybe you end up finding something or someone to love in the process.